This is the North Texas weather discussion video for Wednesday, the first day of March. I'm Donovan Neal. This also marks the first day of meteorological spring, and we kick off meteorological spring with a possible severe weather outbreak tomorrow for north central Texas into parts of the Mississippi River Valley for tomorrow afternoon and evening. But let's talk about our current conditions right now. This is the upper air look this morning. As you can see, we have a upper level trough storm system just to the in East Nevada. That's eventually going to move down here, move to the southeast out in West Texas, and that will be our storm system that will generate our robust severe weather system for tomorrow. Let's take a look at the visible satellite view. Quite a bit of cloud cover in the south central United States region. I don't see any general breaks in the sunshine, but that could be possible later in the afternoon, in the evening hours before the sun goes down. Taking a look at the temperatures early this morning, we're sitting solid at 70 for DFW. Very, very comfortable out there. Temperatures generally range between the low 60s in north central Texas, all the way down into the upper 70s to low 80s as we head towards East Texas. But taking a look at the categorical outlooks for the rest of the day, you can see we have an enhanced risk of severe storms around the Mississippi River Valley and the Arklamas region. They could see a few strong tornadoes over there. But down here for our neck of the woods, we only have a minimal risk of seeing some marginally strong to severe storms later this afternoon. We'll talk about that here in a second, but our main highlight is tomorrow for that potential severe weather outbreak. We generally have a risk of severe storms all the way from, I'd say, Houston all the way to the Mississippi River Valley. Let's take a look at our tornado probabilistic outlook. Generally, anywhere from the east of downtown Dallas, where that red is, that means there is a 15% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of a given point in that zone. And you can see those black lines. That hatched area means that we could see a few strong to violent long track tornadoes within that red and those yellow zones. So that's something we're going to have to stay very aware of. And then going to our severe wind probabilistic outlook, that same area where we have that heightened risk for tornadoes, we essentially have a 50-50 chance of seeing wind damage within 25 miles within that given zone, which is obviously very, very significant, especially for this time of the year. And then going on to our hail, we are no stranger to hail events in the Metroplex and also just in general in the north central Texas region. It looks like we do have an elevated chance of seeing some hail and most particularly some significant hail, which means hail 2 inches or plus in diameter. And that's something we're going to have to pay very close attention to this tomorrow afternoon and evening. Now I want to go back to the categorical outlooks in here. Generally, all of north central Texas is on a level 3 of 5, an enhanced risk of severe storms. However, if you go towards the east of downtown Dallas, that's where we have that moderate risk of severe weather. That's where our main focus is for tomorrow. Anywhere that's basically to the east of downtown Dallas includes places like Paris, Texarkana, Longview, Quinlan, Greenville, Tawakoni, Point. Also, Union Valley, Canton, and Kaufman, Balch Springs, and Corsicana. And that enhanced risk includes places like Dallas-Fort Worth, Denton, Sanger, anywhere along the Red River, Lufkin, Waco, Temple, Grandview, Rio Vista, and down to the south. And those are the two main areas of concern. We'll get to modeling here in just a second. But for tomorrow, that severe activity shifts out to the east on Friday. Rain for the next 7 days. As you can see, quite a bit of rain from this event. By the time we're done with this event tomorrow, we'll generally see anywhere from 1 to 2.5 to maybe even isolated 3-inch spots for much of north central Texas. But I do want to point out, before we get to the stuff for tomorrow, I do want to point out that we do have a little bit of chance of seeing some strong to perhaps some marginally severe storms tomorrow, this afternoon at around 6 o'clock for the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and points to the east. Main threat will be maybe some small hail and some wind gusts and lightning at times, but nothing really to be too concerned about this afternoon. So let's go to the modeling here. This is the GFS. This is the 12Z run, valid tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock local time. We're sitting at about 500 millibars. You can see that trough out in El Paso going negative tilt. That surface low is basically positioned anywhere around the Abilene area, and that will move to the northeast, northeast as we grow towards that event. Now let's take a look at some modeling here. This is the HRRR, and this is actually at 5 o'clock tomorrow. At 5 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, we could see some strong to potentially severe storms in the morning, generally to the south of the Metroplex, south and east of the Metroplex. These storms that you see right here on this map, they're just going to move northeast at a pretty good clip. So let's jump to tomorrow afternoon. This is tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. As you can see, when the cap, which is essentially the warm layer aloft, erodes, that's when we'll see some storms. We'll see supercell thunderstorms start to develop, and that's when we'll first see that hail, tornado, and eventually damaging wind threat. But right now, this is when the cap begins to erode, and then storms begin to materialize. And then this is at around 5 o'clock tomorrow. Storms grow more linear in motion. We could see some supercells embedded in that line, but then that's when the storms grow more linear. They turn into a QCLS, a quasi-linear convective system, which would be more of a straight line wind and prominent tornado threat. And then as we head on later into the evening, that's when storms push into East Texas, and that's when we have the possibility of all severe weather hazards. So let's take a look at the instability here. This is the CAPE, the convective available potential energy, at around peak time in the afternoon, in the evening at around 6 o'clock. And if you're a weather weenie, you might look at this and think that these numbers don't look all too high, but just remember, we're still in early March. You don't need a ton of CAPE to produce a mess of severe weather. CAPE values range anywhere from 1,000 to over 2,000 joules per kilogram over north central Texas. And then this is the helicity. This is the veering of the wind with altitude in relation to storm motion. And generally, if you want a more robust tornado event, you want to see CAPE values a little higher than this. But we're still early in. But again, we're still early in the season, so we won't have that big of a tornado threat as we traditionally do in April and May. But in fact, here's the STP, the significant tornado parameter. Any values range anywhere from 2 to around 5 in the north central Texas and East Texas zone, and that's those measurements, those units is quite a bit to definitely see a few strong tornadoes. And then finally, here's the updraft helicity tracks running all through this event. Essentially tells us that we could see a few long-lived supercells. And I want to go back to this map here. I want to get to the main timing of this. So in a broad window, I want to open up the broad window that all of north central Texas could see severe weather anywhere from 12 p.m. To 12 a.m. Tomorrow. So from tomorrow afternoon to midnight on Friday. But for areas generally to the west of the Metroplex, I suspect thunderstorms development around 1 to 5 p.m. And then for the Metroplex, our main threat of severe storms anywhere from 3 to 8. And then generally in that moderate risk zone, that's out in East Texas near Lake Tawakoni and Quinlan. I expect their greatest threat anywhere from 7 p.m. to even midnight tomorrow. And again, I just want to reemphasize that We could see all modes of severe weather are in play, including very large hail, which we're, of course, no stranger of if you've lived here for a while. Very damaging winds as the storms grow more upscale in motion, and with the damaging wind threat, we also have the potential for a few tornadoes. And just based on what you've seen here, some of those could be strong to violent long track tornadoes, which means EF2 to EF5 tornadoes are possible tomorrow afternoon and evening. So now today is a great day to make sure to review your severe weather procedures. Make sure you have a way to receive warnings tomorrow, and make sure you know where to go whenever a severe thunderstorm or even a tornado warning is issued tomorrow. Let's go to the QPFs, the cumulative precipitation forecast. The mean, which is that green line, shows about 2.5 inches of rain anywhere between now and the middle of this month. And then from the National Blend of Models here, the temperatures, as you can see from after Thursday, we're going to dip into the low 60s for at least Friday, and then the weekend will quickly warm up, and then we're just going to dip again going into the middle of next week. In fact, let's look at the temperature outlook through the middle of this month. It's forecasting below average temperatures, at least for the north central Texas region, from now until the middle of this month. So just a reminder that we're not quite done with winter yet, but I do want to go back and just re-emphasize just general tornado safety. If tornado warning is issued, you want to go to the lowest floor on the center of your house, on the lowest floor near the center, away from windows. If you're in a mobile home and in the northeast Texas region where the moderate risk is, I know from personal experience that there are a ton of mobile homes there. And listen, mobile homes are great, affordable places to live, but they offer no protection from a tornado. Like, it doesn't take a violent tornado to completely destroy a mobile home. So if you're in that region and living in the mobile home, you want to evacuate when that warning is issued, and you want to drive to your nearest gas station or convenience store or a site-built structure and make sure and get in there and wait till that storm passes. Also, in your storm shelter, you want to have hard sole shoes in case you need to walk through a tornado debris field. You don't want to do that barefooted, and you also want to carry around an air horn in case you're trapped under a debris or you can't vocalize. Use that. First responders are trained to hear the air horn in case you cannot vocalize. Lastly, and probably the most important thing, is in your safe place, you want to have a bicycle helmet, a cheap helmet that you can very, very easily get from Walmart. That could save a life, because most tornado deaths actually happen from blunt force trauma to the skull region. So it's very important that each storm shelter has a helmet for everyone in that household. So that's it for this weather discussion here. I'll have more notes on the blog. I'll keep everyone updated as we go throughout the day tomorrow. If you're not on my weather remind, join it. Text at Apex Storm to 81010. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and Godspeed.